Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This evening's reciters are Shri Ji Kishori Mataji for English and Pandav Arjun Das Prabhuji for Sanskrit. And they'll be reciting from Canto 3, Chapter 23, verses 1 to 15. Prabhuji, will you start with invocation 3 times before you start? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, chapter 23, and verse 1. Maitreya Vacha Pitribhyam Prasite Sandvi Patim Ingeta Kovada Nityam Pariyaksharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhum.
Hare Krishna, translation. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband.
Vishrambhinatmashochena Gauravena Damenacha Shushaya Sovridena Vashamadhuraya Shabho.
O Vidura, Devahuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of the senses, with love, and with sweet words.
Visrijya Kamam Dambhamcha Vishamlabham Aghamadam Apramatodhyata Nityam Tejyat Mamsam Atoshayat.
Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity.
Savaidevarchivaryastam Manavim Samanovratam Devadgariya Sampatyor Ashasanam Mahashishaham Kalena Bhuya Sakshamam Karashitam Vratacharyaya Prema Gadgadaya Vacha Pindita Kripaya Brabit.
The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. Thus she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. Seeing her condition, Kardama, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love.
Kardama Vacham Shtoham Madhyatava Manave Madhatayaha Shushushaya Paramaya Paraya Shabhaktya Yodehinam Ayam Ativa Suhritsa Deho Navekshita Samuchitak Shatatum Mat Artem.
Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf.
Yeme Sadharma Niratasya Tapa Samadhi Vidyatma Yoga Vijita Bhagavat Prasadaha Tad Eva Teme Anusevanaya Urudhan Rishtim Prapashya Vitaratmya Bhayam Shokan.
Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you, because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are.
Anyepanar Bhagavato Brava Udvijrimbha Vimbhara Shitara Harachana Kim Purupramasya Sinahasya Bhunkshva Vibhavanija Dharmadhohan Divyanarai Daradhigan Ripan Priyabhihi.
Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to the annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions.
Evam Brahmanam Abalakila Yogamaya Vidyavishakranam Adekshagatam Harasit Samprashaya Pranaya Vivaya Grishat Vrindavaloka Vilasada Hastitana.
Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devahuti was very satisfied. Her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance, she spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love.
Devahutir Uvacham Radhambata Dvija Vrishaita Tamogha Yoga Mayadhipetvai Vibhata Tavemi Bharataha Este Abhyadhaya Samaya Sahritanga Sango Bhuyangariya Seguna Prasavaha Satinam.
Sri Devahuti said, my dear husband, O best of Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers because you are under the protection of Yoga Maya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband.
Tatreti Krityamupa Shiksha Yathopadesham Yanaishame Parishito Atirir Ram Sayatma Siddhetate Kritamano Bhavadarashitaya Ganastat Isha Bhavanam Sadrasham Vishakshva.
Devahuti continued, my dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scriptures, so that my skinny body, emaciated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my lord, please think of a suitable house for this purpose.
Maitreya Vacham Priyaya Priyam Anvichan Kardama Yogam Astitaha Imanam Kamangam Kshatas Tarihi Eva Vivrachikara.
Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kardama exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will.
Sarvakama Dukham Divyam Sarvaratna Samanatam Savardihi Upachayodarakam Manistambhar Upaskatam.
It was a wonderful structure, bedecked with all sorts of jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every form of furniture and wealth, which tended to increase in the course of time.
दिव्योपकारमौपितं सर्वकाला सखावहं पथिकाभिः पताकाभिर्विचित्रभिरलङ्कृतम् सर्गभिरविचित्रमाल्यभिर्मञ्जुषञ्जातशतअङ्घ्रिभिः दुःखलक्षोमकौशेयैर्नानावस्त्रैर्विराजितम्.
The castle was fully equipped with all necessary paraphernalia, and it was pleasing in all seasons. It was decorated all around with flags, festoons, and artistic work of variegated colors. It was further embellished with wreaths of charming flowers that attracted sweetly humming bees, and with tapestries of linen, silk, and various other fabrics. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Thank you for opportunity to serve, and please forgive me for any offenses and mistakes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Pandavajan Prabhuji and Shriji Kishori Mataji for the beautiful recitations of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly joining this evening to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, also giving this opportunity to speak. Okay, so we shall enter into Srimad Bhagavatam with Mangalacharana prayers. Oh. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशम्। हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां स्वकदाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्त्वैह भद्राणि विदुनोति सुकृसतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। एते चांशकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयं इन्द्रादिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकसधन्यं स्वस्ताय नमः। कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रामीशा पुराणार्को अदिनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विशुमूर्ते स्वकेशुमि स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्तिदृढं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयिमेनन्यविषयमतिर्मदपते असकृत् रतिमुद्वाहतद्ध गङ्ग्यवघुमुदन्वति श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सखा विष्णु शुभावनिध्रुग्राजन्युवंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुराटहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। त्वलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गीसङ्गस्य मध्याह्नं किमुताशशः पुनश भूयाद् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गश तदाश्रयेषु महस्तुयां यामुप्यामि सृष्टिं मैत्रस्य सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरेनानमतग्राह व्याप्तुं सिद्धान्तसागरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रीविरितः संगृणात् आकृव्रातात् अज्ञः सिद्धान्तसन्मनीम्। ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः। हरे कृष्णा। Okay, thank you so much. I shall share my screen. Okay, so this is the this chapter is third canto, chapter 23, and chapter name is Devhuti's Lamentation. Sorry, Devhuti's Lamentation. So here in this chapter, Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura. So in the past times of Devhuti. So far he has spoke about Swayambhu Manu in the 22nd chapter. In the 23rd chapter, he is speaking about the Swayambhu Manu's daughter Devhuti and how Devhuti she was given in marriage to Kadama Prajapati, and she has served with so much of faith and love to her husband Kadama Muni. And then later on, Kadama Muni was very pleased and then appreciated Devhuti's service. And then he started asking, he started saying that you can ask anything from me, but I have achieved the Bhagavad Prasada. I will be sharing with you because you have been my partner and you have served me with love and affection. So I will be sharing these things to you. And then later on, Devhuti started responding to Kadama Prajapati. Okay, these are saying that once upon a time, my dear husband, you gave the word that you will be begetting children in my womb. So now I desire to have children. Likewise, Devhuti says. So today we are covering verses 9 and 10 of the 23 chapter. Okay, and here how Devhuti has impressed or served her husband, it is very important. Like in our day-to-day lives, generally Matajis they serve their husbands. But in this modern world, many people are with equal rights, but they demand for that one. In which case I'm less than a man. So many people think that, but they do not understand the constitutional position of a Prakriti and Purusha. Okay, so that one has to understand. And here, Devhuti, by her practical life, so she has served her husband and pleased her husband. And also, what is the most safety, uh, the frame or the protection for the women is their shyness and also love and affection to the husband. That will protect their life. That is what generally Pativratas means. If there is no intimate relationship between the husband and wife, then such kind of things may not be used and they will be prone to the exploitation by the material nature or people of this material world. Okay, so as long as the shyness and also humbleness, these are their protections. But people, whenever they think that, why should I be shy? Then what happens? They will be exploited by other people. And in such a way, gradually, they will fall down. So how she has served her husband, Pitrubhyam Praste Sadvi Patimingita Kovida, Nityam Paricharat Pritya Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhum, Patim Ingita Kovida, knowing the intentions of the husband, she has served. Nityam Paricharat, and every day she has served her husband, knowing the interest of the husband, just like a Bhavan Eva Bhavam Prabhum, like Mother Parvati serves her husband, Lord Shiva, likewise she has served. And then Vishrambhena Atmasauchena, Gauravena Damena cha, Susrushaya Sahurdena Vacha Madhurya cha Bhoho. And then Vishrambhena, it is completely cooperation with the husband. Vishrambhena Atmasauch, with so much of intimacy. Atmasauchena, with the purity of mind and body. Gauravena, with great respect. Damena, with the control of the senses. Susrushaya, by rendering with service. Sauhridena, with love. And Vacha Madhuryacha Bhoho, and all of her words are very sweet. Likewise, she has rendered service. And what else she has done for her she has restrained so many of her desires, her pride, her enviousness, and greedy, such kind of things. She is always ready to render service to her husband. Vishrujya kamam dambam cha, dvesham lobham agammadham, apramattu ujjitanityam tejiyamsham atoshayat. So every moment, apramatta. Apramatta means she is always ready to render service. Okay. Tejiyamsham atoshayat. She has pleased her husband. And then with irrespective of her bodily nature, without caring about her body, she has rendered service to her husband. Then her husband started speaking. And then in the last sloka, in the last session, her husband says, Kardamamuni says, he says that Yeme Sudharma Nirtasya Tapasamadhi Vidhyatma Yoga Vichita Bhagavat Prasadaha Tanivete Mad Anusevana Yavarudhan Dushtim Prapasya Vitarami Abhyan Ashokan. And myself engaging in the Swadharma Nirataha. What is Swadharma? So engaging in following the religious principles and everything. And Niratasya, Swadharma Niratasya, completely engaged himself. And then Tapasamadhi, engaged in the penance. And then Vidya, knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Atma Yoga, again, Atma Yoga is again described as the connecting oneself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this time, he has already pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord has come and then blessed him and then left. So he has achieved that Bhagavat Prasadaha. And now today I will be sharing all those things to you. So I will also give all this knowledge. So likewise, when he started speaking, and also he also mentions one is the Bhagavat Prasada. And then further, he mentions about the materialistic nature. So there are so many things people go after the wealth and the home, so many other things. They're all Anyaha. One side is the Bhagavat Prasada, another side anything which is not Bhagavat Prasada. He says, Anye Punar Bhagavato Bhuva with Budvidjrumbha Vibramshitadha Rachanaha Kimurakramasya सिद्धासि भुंक्ष्व विभवान निज धर्म दोहान दिव्यानरेहि दुरिदिगान रूप विक्रियाभिः. Anye punar bhagavato bhravijrumbam, bhra mudvijrumba. And anything else which is not Bhagat Prasada, they're all in the moment of eyebrows. So everything will be Vibhramshitardha. Vibhramshitardha is they will be annihilated, which is not Bhagavad Prasada. Everything is of temporary nature. Adharachana ki murakramasya, material achievements, everything. I have achieved this much, I have studied and accumulated so much of wealth. What is there to me? And my family will survive without my presence. But what about you? So this is again so many things. People think that they're all achievements, but they do not know that they will be annihilated in a moments of time. Ki Murukramasya of Lord Vishnu's. Okay, so this is just in the Bruvaha of eyebrows, Budvijrumba by the moment of time. Siddha Siddhangshvi Bhavan Nija Dharma Dohan Divya Narehi Dhrudigan Rupavikriyabihi. So he said, okay, Kadamuni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Okay, so likewise he mentions to Devhuti, so what he is going to give to her. And also how much important it is the Bhagavad Prasada is. So this one is, it will never ever be, it is eternal. It is Bhagavad Prasad, it is Brahma Sampatyam. Vishoka Brahma Sampatya Sanchinna Dvaita Samsayaha. When we have got a Brahma Sampatya, that means anything will not even come into that, a portion of little bit of it. So that is Brahma Sampati. When we have Brahma Sampati, you don't need anything else. You will be able to counteract any kinds of things. Vishoko Brahma, Vishoko Dvaita Sanchana Samsayaha, Dvaita Sanchana. So the dualities, you can counteract all the dualities when you have got this spiritual asset. Okay, this is what, but people with Janma Ishwari Sribihi Yedamana Madapuman Naivahrati Abhitatum Vai Twam Akinchana Gocharam. And one of the Kunti Mata prayers says that Janma Aishwarya Sruta Sribihi Yedamana Madapuman Naivaharati, they're all not qualifications because you're from Akinchana Gocharam. You are available to the devotees who are Akinchanas. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalye Pataye Namaha. So Kunti Devi again prays to in her prayers addresses Krishna as the Akinchana. From Akinchana Gocharam. Okay, so likewise, Kaddama Muni is stressing the importance of getting this Bhagavad Prasadam. This is mercy of the Lord. Okay, so today we are going to continue from the Shloka 9, that further he describes that when he says that now Maitreya Muni says that she is now a bit shy whenever husband is asking. Now wife is bit shy in order to say her desire, what she wanted. And also she understands that her husband is already qualified sage. He is powerful enough. Likewise, she is addressing and then she will ask whatever she wanted. Okay, so here, Evam Bhruvanam Abhalakela Yoga Maya Vidya Vijakshanam Aveksha Gatadhirasit Samprashriya Pranaya Vihvalaya Gireshad Vridava Loka Vilasad Hasitananaham Evam Bhruvanam Abhala Akila Yoga Maya. So, Evam Bhruvanam, in such a way speaking, at that time, when Kadama spoke, Abhala is that the woman, Akila Yoga Maya, and all Yoga Maya of transcendental science, Vidya Vichakshanam, Vidyavichakshanam, excelling in knowledge. Avekshya, after hearing, Gatadhirasid. So she is satisfied. Now, as soon as husband is saying those words to Devhuti is satisfied because she knows that. And then she is samprasharaya pranaya, because with humility and pranaya and with love, vihvalaya and choked up voice, and gira asid with a voice with a slightly, Ishat is slightly, she is with a choked up voice starting responding to Kadama Prajapati. And also her shyness. Vridha is the bashful. Our local with a glance, and Vilasad Hasita Anna Aha. With a shining, smiling face, she is speaking to her husband. This is Vrida Avaloka. What is the beauty of a woman is not speaking very boldly, and that is not, it is lacking a mocking a kind of a, it's not the men used to speak boldly and then openly, but what is the beauty of the woman is the vridha, is the bashfulness, shyness, humbleness. These are the good qualities, the beauty. So she started speaking to husband. Evam bhvanam akilakala abhlakila yogamaya vidya vichakshanam apeksha gatadhirasit samprashriya pranaya vihvalaya gireshat vridavaloka vilsad hasita ananaham. So translation. Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devhuti was very satisfied. Her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance, she spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is said that if one is already engaged in Krishna consciousness and is rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord, then it can be supposed that he has finished all the recommended courses of austerity, penance, religion, sacrifice, mystic yoga, and meditation. So this one, when Devhuti, it's the same Devhuti addresses to Kapil Bhagwan. Aho bata sopacho ato ghariyan yajjihvagre vattite namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuhu sasnurarya brahmanuchurnam grunanti ete. And addressing Kapil Bhagavan, Aho bata sopacho ato ghariyan yajjihvagre vattite namatubhyam. And even though the Chandala, who is the dog eater, even though he is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or names of the Hari or Krishna, Raman, these names, a person who is chanting Aho Bat Sopacho Atho Gharyan Yajjihvagre Vattate Namatubhyam. And if your name is chanting on the tongue of that particular person, then Te Pustapaste Juhu Sasnarya Brahman Churnam Ghunanti Ete. So he has achieved all kinds of, he has done all this. It's a very beautiful shloka. Let me share that one. This is the devotees. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yesham Twantagatam Papam Jananam Punyakarmanam Ted Bandhamoh Nirmukta Bhajinte Mam Dhradavrataha. Once they are completely freed from all the sinful activities, a person will come to me. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. So this is, it is giving very beautiful, same Devhuti Mata is glorifying Kapil Bhagavan here. And here she mentions to the Lord that Aho bata swapacho ato gariyan yajjihvagre vattate namatubhyam tepuhu tapaste juhuhu sasnurarya brahmanuchur nama grunantiyete. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. See, this is the position of a devotee. So here, Prabhupada is describing that point. Even though he is a Chandala or Mlechas born in the Western or anywhere throughout the universe, but they will be, as soon as they chant, immediately they will be elevated to the position of doing a yajnas. Now, for example, if we see so many devotees in the Western, they have been qualified to do yajnas. They became brahmanas. They are doing so many sacrifices, which is our practical experience. We are seeing with our eyes. And further, that is Prabhupada is describing. And Devhuti's husband was so expert in the transcendental science that there was nothing for him to argue about. And when she heard him speak, she was confident that since he was very much advanced in devotional service, he had already surpassed all transcendental educational activities. So by the time the Lord has come to Kadama Prajapati, he has also blessed him that he is going to get Devhuti as his wife. And he was asking, Samana Selam Gruhamir Denum, Samana Selam Gruhamir Denum. So he was also, when he was asking Parivod Kamaha, he wanted to get married. For that purpose, he meditated for 10,000 years. Lord came and then he blessed him. And then he says that I also take a birth in the womb of Devhuti. Okay. These are because of this, all he was a devotee of the Lord, devotional service. And she had no doubt about the gifts offered by her husband. Devhuti is very confident. She has heard the glories of Kadama Prajapati from the mouth of Narada Muni. Narada Muni used to go and then glorify so many devotees. Otherwise, devotees do not glorify any materialistic person. Devotees do not glorify any materialistic person. It doesn't matter if it's a president or a king. So anyone, if he is not a devotee, we do not glorify. Why? Because there, otherwise Savanaka says that Swavit Viraho Ustakarahi Samstaha Purushaha Pasuhu Naitkarna Patopeda Jatunama Gadagrajaha. And because if you are glorifying other people, appreciating other people, if he is not a devotee of the Lord, you may be under one of the categories. Likewise, Savanaka says, Swavit Viraho, one is a dog, one is a donkey, and a camel, and a stool-eating pig, or a hog. So these are the four categories. If you are appreciating any person who is not a devotee, you are well-doing, you are doing something, then so immediately you will be falling into one of these categories. Likewise, Savanaka Muni and Prabhupada explains in elaborated descriptions. Okay, so here devotees glorify only other devotees and Krishna. That's all. No any other person. So here she knew that he was expert in offering such gifts. And when she understood that he was offering the greatest gift, she was very satisfied. She was very satisfied. Now, whenever the husband and wife get married, they understood that there is a mutual cooperation. It ends for the life. This is my husband, and he will always stay with me. He will always protect me. He will give all kinds of facilities to me. And then I can take anything whenever I wanted. First of all, I wanted to fulfill my desire first. It is the natural tendency. This is Trainam. It is the nature of the woman, the feminine feature of the woman. So it is the natural quality. But she was satisfied. But she was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. So before, when they were getting married itself, whenever Kadama Muni, with closing his eyes, little bit closing eyes and remembering the Lord with a gentle smile, and he has stolen the mind of Devhuti at that spot itself. And she has got so much of love to her husband. Now, when he is speaking like pleasingly to Devhuti, now she was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Before the marriage itself, by hearing about the qualities of Kadam Prajapati, she fell in Like her mind is completely determined to get married only Kadama Prajapati. Now it is the time. So she was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. And therefore she could not reply. Then with faltering language, just like an attractive wife, she spoke the following words. So this is Vedavaloka Vilasad Hasita Ananaha. Anana Aha. She spoke with a bashful face and a shyness. Okay, this is how a woman can attract the husband. A woman is compared to a fire and a man is compared to a butter. Whenever woman speaks, immediately husband melts. This is the nature. Because this feminine nature, Krishna says that I am that feminine nature. In the Vibhuti Yoga, he speaks that Kirtisha Narinam, Kirtisha Narinam. So let me just open that shloka as well. Kirti Shri Vaksha Narinam, Smritir Meda Dritipshama. I am all devouring. And he says, among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. So these are few things Krishna mentions about the among women, the features of the women. Okay, coming back to our shloka. This is whenever Krishna was having so many wives in the palaces, they're all trying to impress Krishna by their Buddhama Bhava, by different kinds of they wanted to impress their husband and keep the husband in their own palace. Buddhama Bhava Pisuna Malavalguhasa Vredavalokanihatu Madano Piyasam Sammuhya Chapa Majhat Pramadostamasta Yasyendriyam Vimitam Kuhakaihi Nasekuhu. Though the women, they are very beautiful. Buddhama Bhava Pisunamala Valguhasa Vredavalokanihatu Madano Piyasam. They are trying to flatter the husband, Krishna. But though Krishna is always inclined to the devotees, he is the Bhakta Vachala. But here, they were thinking that by my shyness, by my features, I am able to attract. But they were trying to impress, but Krishna was. Yasyendriyam vimutitum kuhkaihi nasekuhu. But Krishna was not inclined for that kind of features. And even though the Cupid, Manmada, even though he is inspiring and he was throwing so many arrows at Krishna, but he could not succeed. And also it is Prabhupada is comparing with again with Lord Shiva, how he was able to be. Manmada was able to throw some arrows onto the Lord Shiva, but he could not here. Because Krishna is he always again there is a the fish symbol on his toes as well. So that means Manmada, nothing, no sensual desires can influence Krishna. Yasyendrim kum vimutitam kuhakaihi nasekuhu. Okay, so that is the guy in Krishna's position, just comparing because of Vredavaloka Vilasad Achitarana. Okay, we shall move to the next, what Devhuti is going to speak. Devhuti Uvacham Radham Batad Vijavusha Yetad Amogha Yoga Mayadipet Vibho Tadavaimi Battaham Yeste Abhidai Samayaha Sakrud Anga Sango Bhuyad Gariyasi Gunaha Prasabaha Satinam. So now she is mentioning her desire. Radham Bhatad Vijavrusha. So Devhuti is saying Radham Bhata. So Radham is that it has been achieved. Bhata, indeed. Vijavrusha, oh best of the Brahmanas, Vijavrusha. Yetad Amogha Yoga. And all this, whatever you have achieved so far, whatever you have achieved, it is like a Vidya Samadhi Yoga, like Swadharmanitasya Tapaha Samadhi Vidhyatma Yoga Vijita Bhagat Prasadaha. All these things, all these spiritual assets. Amogha Yoga. And best of the So here it is Amogha is infallible, Yoga Maya of mystic powers. Adipe, the master. You are the master of the mystic yoga, mystic powers. Tvai vibho tad avaimi bhattaha. In you, vibho, O great one, that avaimi bhattaha, I know, my dear husband. So you are capable of all these assets, spiritual assets. Having all this, you are a master of all the mystic powers. Likewise, you have achieved all these things. Bhagavad Prasada, I know all these things, my dear husband. Likewise, she has acknowledged that part. Devhuti has acknowledged that part as a devotional service and spiritual assets. But however, and then she is remembering what she wanted because of her Yasti Abhidayi Samayaha Sakrud Anga Sangho. And she says that which yesterday by yourself Abhidayi Samayaha, and Abhidayi was given Samayaha, the promise. We have done the promise long time back. Sakrud Angasangaha, the bodily union. Sakrud Angasangaha, bodily union. Bhuyat Ghariyesi Gunaha, Bhuyat maybe, Gariyesi when very glorious, Gunaha a great quality, and also Prasavaha Satinam, progeny Satinam of just a woman. Also mentioning about he promised that he will beget children in the womb of Devhuti, and now Devhuti is remembering that she wanted to get that desire to be fulfilled, because that is the great asset and great happiness for a just a woman, having a children through husband. So this is Radham Bhadadrija, Dvijarusha Etad Amogha Yoga Mayadipetwai Vibho Tadavaimi Bhattaha. Yastebhyadai Samayaha Sakrud Angasangho Bhoyad Gariyesi Gunaha Prasavaha Satinam. The translation. Shri Devhuti said, my dear husband, O best of Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers, because you are under the protection of Yoga Maya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a just a woman who has a glorious husband. So here Devhuti has got one first thing. She is the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu is again one of the Mahajan. And then now husband, Kadma Prajapati, devotee of the Lord. And later on, the son, Kapil Bhagavan, is going to birth again the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking birth. Again, all of her daughters, they are given in marriage to all the great sages, Atri Maharshi, Marichi, and Pulaha, Pulastya, Dharma, like all of them. Again, they beget so many of children. And Anusaya Mata is one of, and she gave birth to Durvasa Muni, Soma, and Dattatreya, and then Dharma and Kala. Kala gave birth to Naranarayana Rishi. All of her children, they gave birth to so many of, again, incarnations of the gods. So how pure the Devhuti is, how fortunate. Husband, father, child, and all of the grandchildren. Okay, so now, so here she is also mentioning, since children are a great quality for a just woman who has a glorious husband. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devhuti expressed her happiness by uttering the word Bata, for she knew that her husband was in a highly elevated transcendental position and was under the shelter of Yogamaya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, those who are great souls, Mahatmas, are not under the control of the material energy. The Supreme Lord has two energies, material and spiritual. The living entities are marginal energy. As marginal energy, a person may be under the control of the material energy or the spiritual energy, Yoga Maya. Kardama Muni was a great soul, and therefore he was under the spiritual energy, which means that he was directly connected with the Supreme Lord. The symptom of this is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotional service. This was known to Devhuti, yet she was anxious to have a son by bodily union with the sage. She reminded her husband of his promise to her parents. I will remain only until the time of Devhuti's pregnancy. She reminded him that for a just woman to have a child by a great personality is most glorious. She wanted to be pregnant and she prayed for that. The word Stri means expansion. By bodily union of the husband and wife, their qualities are expanded. Children born of good parents are expansions of the parents' personal qualifications. Both Kaddama Muni and Devhuti were spiritually enlightened. Therefore, she desired from the beginning that first she be pregnant and then she be empowered with achievement of God's grace and love of God. For a woman, it is a great ambition to have a son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Since she had the opportunity to have Kaddama Muni as her husband, she also desired to have a child by bodily union. Okay, now she has expressed her desire, and how glorious it to have good children through good husband, a devotee husband and devotee children. Sometimes we see some children are by birth itself, they're all pure devotees and then take birth in the family and they start preach Krishna consciousness. Take Bhagavad Gita, preach Krishna consciousness. This is how it happens. And here in this purport, so Srila Prabhupada is describing that her husband was in a highly elevated transcendental position and was under the shelter of Yoga Maya. And Krishna mentions, my devotees, they're all Mahatmanas Tumam Padha Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. They are called Mahatmas. Who is called Mahatmas? Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. Radharani is the Daivi Prakriti. She is non-different from Krishna. Ekatmana Vipibhipura Deha Bedam Gatotau. Krishna and Radharani, they are the same. And whoever is approaching Krishna through Radharani. So these are all Mahatmas. Mahatmanastu Mampardha Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. Radharani is the Mula Prakriti, spiritual nature. And her expansions are like a Durga. Also, the expansions are also called with different names like Lalita. Lalita Sahasranam. Again, different Puranas describe about the glories of Durga Devi or Lalita Devi. Okay, different reflections, but they come from different Puranas. Brahmanda Purana. Again, Puranas are all three different categories. Puranas for people in the mode of goodness. Puranas for people in the mode of passion. Puranas for people in the mode of ignorance. Again, wherever it is, according to their nature, they approach such kind of Puranas. But a devotee would not give any misinterpretations about any Puranas. Puranas, they're all transcendental. But those are prescribed for the people of, this is again, Bhakti Yoga Bahuvido Margaihi Bhavini Bhavite Swabhava Gunamadhyena Pumsam Bhava Vibhijyate. By the nature of a person, this Bhakti Yoga is again divided into three modes. So again, Kapil Bhagavan describes that one in the later chapters. But here, coming back to here, Mahatmas, they're all not under the control of material, they're always under the spiritual energy or internal potency of the Lord. Mahatmanas Tumam Parda Daivim Prakristum Ashritaha. Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. They're always worshipping the Lord. Bhajanti. Bhajanti is only prescribed for Krishna, not for anyone else. But if anything else is there, there is no love and devotion there. There is some kind of a exchange. But how do we understand which one is good? At least you practically understand what is the nature of the people who are following that particular lineage, the sampradaya. They're always pure, they always follow rules and regulations very strictly. and follow the instructions of spiritual masters strictly. No more deviation, and always in the satsanga, follow the scriptural injunctions. This is devotees. They do not deviate. Whatever the Lord says, they will try to follow the same instructions as they are. That is, then dehopi devashagaha kalu karmaya vat swarambakam prasamikshita eva sasutu. All of their activities come under the divine supervision. All of their words and past karma also come into the Krishna's account. Dehopi devashagaha kalu karmaya vat swarambakam prasamikshita eva sasutu. All of their senses also come under the control of Krishna. Whatever the sinful person so far they have done, now past is past. Now they have come to Krishna with complete surrender, not by any diplomacy or with reservations. Complete surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna will take charge of that. That's why all of those sinful activities will be Teneka Janma Shamalam Sahasaiva Hitva. So many of those, they will be kicked out very, very soon. Completely purified from all the sinful reactions. But only thing is, one has to take shelter of lotus feet of Krishna with complete sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam saranam vraja. No more other things, no more diplomacy, no more reservations, complete. Then they will be under the divine supervision. Deho vidhevashakha kalu karmayavat. And here again, Prabhupada describes living entities are marginal energy. This is again, there are three different energies: spiritual energy, marginal energy, and inferior energy. Vishnu Shakti para prokta kshetra jnakya tata para avidya karma sanyaya tritiya Shakti rishyate. Tritiya Shakti, this is marginal energy. One is the Vishnu Shakti para prokta. One is the spiritual potency, and then material energies or this material world. All of parasukterbi vidheva shurite swabhaviki jnana bhala kriya, so many energies. Out of that, material energy is one of it. Okay, and then a living entity, if he has got sense gratificatory things, immediately he will come into this material energy. A marginal energy, a person may be under control of the marginal energy or spiritual energy, yoga maya. Okay, so the maya or the material energy always side by side. Or material energy is behind Krishna. Mayam chatad apashriyam. Bhakti yogena manisi. Bhakti yogena manisi. Samyak pranihite amale. Apasyat purusham purnam mayam chatad apashriyam. And Vyasadeva, when he has engaged in the penance, in the meditation, he sees that in the Bhakti Yoga, Vyasadeva has gone through meditation 2 times. In our as per the scriptural perspective, of course, they have been number of times, but here in the context when we describe the first time in his meditation, he says that all the living entities are conditioned. In order to give them auspicious things, he has compiled so many literatures, Shri Mahabharata, and split one Veda into number of Vedas and also Puranas. They have given to different of his disciples, but still he was not satisfied. At the time, it was meditation for the sake of the people with compassionate mind, compassionate heart. And then later Narada Muni came, and then so he mentioned that what is the reason for your unhappiness? Because you have not compiled the glories of the Lord completely. Then after he got instructions from Narada Muni, then he engaged himself in the meditation onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Bhakti Yoga Namanasi. Second time is the Bhakti Yoga. At that time, he was able to see the Krishna, Ma, Apasit Purusham Purnam, and Mayam Chatadapashrim. And also he sees that Maya is behind Krishna. If we do not hold the Krishna's lotus feet, and immediately Maya is there. We are always in the Maya, but as long as we hold the feet of Krishna, then we are with spiritual energy. Otherwise, we are always in the either. What is Krishna's means? Hare chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, associating with the devotees, reading the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam scriptures, hearing of our spiritual master's instructions. This is Yoga Maya, spiritual energy. Otherwise, material energy. Okay, so here Kadamuni was a great soul. So he was under spiritual energy, which means that he was directly connected with the Supreme Lord. The symptom of this is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotional service. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam manusmari ijjacha mayarpita manobuddhir mam ye vaishesi asamsayaha. Constant. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu. This is what Krishna consciousness is. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Okay, so this was known to Devhuti, yet she was anxious to have a son by bodily union with the sage. So she reminded her husband of this promise to her parents. So now I will remain only until the time of Devhuti's pregnancy. So this one Kadma Muni mentioned before the marriage. Now she is remembering those words. And now she is asking that I wanted to have a child. So this is only thing she is reminding him, and also what she wanted. She is not ordering. Again, what we need to understand here, she is not ordering or she is not demanding, and she is not giving also any plans. You need to do like that. You need to do like that. She doesn't say anything. Humbly, she is putting her desire in front of her husband with humbleness, and also reminding him of the previous promise. She is not, again, the nature of Devhuti is very, very humble. And again, so later in the following shloka, she also mentions that, oh, my dear husband, so now my body is, it may not be suit your purpose to beget a child. So you look after that one. And also whatever is needed, like the nice home and a palace, for that, you think of all those things, whatever is required for that purpose. And likewise, she puts humble plea in front of her husband. Okay, so now this is what for women, it is a great ambition to have a son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Okay, so this is again and if you are become a, again in the scriptures, it is mentioned that if we have a good children and if you are looking after our children very nicely, all of such kind of pious activity does not even come in comparison with the service rendering to the husband. If, for example, if I am rendering service to my husband, feeding nicely and serving him, if it is earning 100% of pious activity, and then I do the same activity to my child, and there, whatever it is getting, it is 1% of the husband's pious activity. So how important husband is. But later on only son comes. So in our, this again it is described in the scriptures, I think Brahma Mahaprabhu in the conversations of Narada and Brahma. Okay, so this is how a woman has to look after her husband, and many of those pastimes, if we observe the historic, for example, Gandhari, and she has affectionately served her husband, even though her husband is not in the right path. She never left from her path. She served her husband very nicely. So many of those just women in the past. That's why our Vedic injunctions are so glorious. They bring fame to even the women. And this is the only place we can identify. But none of other parts, other spiritual paths, in a different kinds of religions or any part, women are not glorified like here, glorified like we always treat them as mother. And everyone has got a different kinds of history. But we do not see any other woman is glorified in different parts. Okay, so here, this is how a devotee wife and devotee husbands, a model, say, kind of a pramanim satyalovaki. That is what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada wanted to have a families, grihasthas, which should be, they should be a model to the entire world. Model to the entire world. Okay, I stop there, and I request the devotees, if you have got any questions or you wanted to add anything, or which is anything is striking your mind, kindly ask questions or kindly share, or anything is striking your mind, also kindly share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you for that wonderful class, as always. You mentioned Vedic injunctions and how they should be a model for society, and I can't help but draw comparison with the story of Diti and Kashyap Muni, where the woman's behavior is so different, and here Devahuti sacrifices so much, where the union of one leads to the birth of Lord Kapila, and the other one leads to the birth of Asura. So I mean, the Srimad Bhagavatam is so valuable in teaching the values of how people, especially women, should be behaving. So, I mean, I couldn't help but draw that comparison between those two pastimes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So there, Diti Mata is, she's passionate, and then she wanted to have in inappropriate time union with her husband. And then once that time passed, that moment, whenever she was inspired to do it, generally, the women, they are inspired by the gods, generally, inspired by the gods. And later on, they will realize this is what happens generally, wherever we see. Initially, they will be influenced by that. By nature, they are not wrong. By nature, they are not wrong. But when the time comes, immediately they may tend to be inspired to do that. And then later on, they will realize there, even though Kashyapa Prajapati says, Etasyam sad visanjhayam bhagavan bhota bhavanaha parito bhota parishad bihi vrishninatati bhotarat. In this time, Lord Shiva on his Nandi, he is wandering around the world. It is not auspicious time. He wanders along with Bhotas as well. Parishad Bhota Parishad Bihi, Vrishninatati Bhotarat. But there, she was, even though he has given so many of those things, and then she did inspire her husband to have union. And later on, when her husband is, once that time is passed, her husband is saying that you will beget a children who are of the demonic nature. And then immediately she comes to and asking for forgiveness from Lord Shiva. Namo Rudraya Mahate Deva Rudraya Miduse Sivayanyasta Dhandaya Dusdhandaya Manjave Tanaha Prasidam Bhamu Bhagavan Uru Anugraha Vyadasyam Anukampyanam Strinam Devaha Satipatihi. Oh my dear Lord, Trinam Devaha Satipatihi. We are women. She just put her plea for her mistake. We were, so you just show mercy on the women. We are women. And also Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, one should not take the words of women seriously. Even the women in the different angles, and also conversations between Lord Shiva and Sati Devi. They are very beautiful conversations. What to do, what not to do. But here, the women, they are inspired by the divine to carry out particular activity. Again, when Mandara was inspired in the Ramayana Mandara, and then she inspired what is
Kaikai.
Yeah, is that Kaikei? And then later on, after the time is passed, after a few months, and then she came to Ramachandra in the forest when they were in the Vanavasa. At that time, she met Ramchandra privately. Kaikei met privately Ramchandra and asking for forgiveness. And then at the time, Rama says that, my dear mother, do not worry. It is by my arrangement only. It has happened. You are not the reason. And then he also mentions that I am the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ramachandra first reveals that secret to Kaikeyi.
Wow. Okay.
And it is by the arrangement of the divine. But we should not take that by doing by ourselves, in our nature. take and do it, and then I was inspired by the God likewise. We do not say that one, but we take the instructions. But it is Vipashchitaha, Pratibuddha Chetasam, who is learned in Krishna consciousness, they act accordingly and with responsibility. But generally in the material world, women are inspired by the divine to carry out those activities. One side, husband may be devotee, woman who influences the entire family, even though she is not a devotee. And husband, he is compelled to do and forcefully act according to the nature, what is happening in the home. Sometimes we see it.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. And that reference to Ramai and Kaikai, that I didn't know about that. So that was quite good to know. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Any other questions or any additions?
No. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's
Hare
well explained. I have one quick question, Prabhuji. So can you please repeat once again the last bit? So who will influence whom? That bit, please.
So
At
here,
home.
the Kaikai part, when we come to the Kaikai part, there, the divine intervention, because of that, she was acting like that. But until the day before Ramchandra's coronation, she was always inclined to Rama with love and affection. She was treating Rama as her own child, more than her son, Bharata. And within one night, her mind is completely changed by the Mandara's influence. And all these things happened by the divine arrangement. Otherwise, Rama cannot go to the forest and he cannot annihilate the demons. It is by, again, Ramachandra says that it is by my arrangement. It is by my, and also here, Diti also been, she is a kind of a ground so that Jaya and Vijaya, they need to come down as a demons. This is Sambhrambha Sambrut Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. They need to be envious towards the Lord. That is Sambhrambha Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. They should be envious. The Lord says that they will be acting like that when they appear. And for that purpose, they need a proper ground. They need a mother to give birth. And again, father must be effulgent as well, a great personality, because Vaikuntha people are coming means they should not taking birth in the ordinary demons or something like that. Father and mother both should be devotees. But what can be influenced? The time, inauspicious time. And also the Lord Shiva's, those both us, and they will also have got some kind of influence. And whoever is coming for union in inauspicious times. So that is again by the divine arrangement.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Just a quick reflection and a query. So, are we to kind of take it such that most of these things that are ongoing in our lives and things are by divine arrangement? Understanding Srimad Bhagavatam is obviously something, but I just wanted to put that forward. Is that one way to look at things? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, your voice is very low, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Again, I just wanted to ask, is everything that's going on in our lives through divine arrangement? I mean, because we all have free will and choices. So just based on your answer, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. So when a person who is coming to Krishna consciousness, chanting 16 rounds, following regulative principles in Krishna consciousness sincerely, he is definitely under the divine supervision. And who is not chanting yet, so he is maybe coming to Krishna, he is on the borders trying to enter. But again, during that time, there may be so many impediments also come into the picture. The Maya, material energy will pull him back. by putting so many impediments. Who are not devotees yet, they're always working under krupanaha palahetavaha. They are trying to do everything for the fruitive activities, krupanas. They're karmis. They will be pulled by the material energy. They are under the influence of material energy. But devotees who are following, who has taken shelter of the spiritual master, and in the sampradaya, they're always protected.
Hare Krishna, yes, that makes it clear. So, under the superior energy or the inferior energy.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just had a small question, Prabhuji. Like when we are talking about like how a woman should be and all these things, but now in this generation, the girls will always usually they say that the old scriptures always suppressed women's like how they wanted to live. They couldn't live however they wanted to live, and they always suppressed the feelings of a woman and those kind of things. How do we answer to those kind of questions, Prabhuji? How do we tell them that? And they don't even believe in serving even to the husband or anybody. Like why should I serve? Why should I be always a servant? Like that kind of questions come up. So how do we answer like
Yeah, it's a very good question, Mataji. It is practically we witness so many of these women nowadays who are thinking that they are equally intelligent, equally capable and doing anything. They're exposed to the material, the exposed to the world, and many people they will go straight and speak to other women, other men, and they will misuse them in a different ways. And what is the practical experience? So many diverse cases, and the children are fatherless, children are motherless. In so many other, in different angles, if we see, everything is havoc is happening in this society because there is no purity of the woman, and they're contaminated by the material education. And in the olden days, even if we look back 50 years ago, that is better. Prabhupada, at that time, Prabhupada was mentioning that so nowadays it is getting degraded. But if you look at 100 years back, women are not, we do not see such kind of cases. But they were mostly under following all the rules and regulations under the one. This is also the families are staying together, father, mother, and grandmother, grandfather, children. If house means so many of those people, they do not get a chance even to make a mistake. And there are so many other people to correct them, to protect them. Nowadays, family means husband and wife, two children or one child, and they're staying in a house, and that's it. As soon as the children grown and they are gone, and there will no people will be protecting the father and mother. They will take money and then they will go. And who will look after them when they are not in good health? No one. If the husband goes down and his health is not good, wife health is not good, they will cry. My children are not looking, and then going to the court, so many things. This is our practical experience. And here, if those things are going on, once a mental pressure, it is too much. One may think that I'm able to manage, but mental pressure, it is not small thing. Every day they have to go through. Throughout the life, everyone are going like that. Why I am here? Just even practically, why I'm living in this country? Only two people. My children are they're living in somewhere. They got married and they're living. My son and then my daughter-in-law, and me and my wife, my husband are living in this town. Only here. For what purpose? They may think that, oh, my son is there. If they wanted to see us, and then we'll be here. And some other people think that my children wanted to study very well. They are going to school. Why unnecessarily? They want to get a good job, good thing. They put so many plans. So many plans. But this attraction by the material energy. Yasmin yada pushkarana bhamaya dhrantaya spruštadiyaha pradigdrushyaha. Yasmin yada pushkarana bhamaya. It is the material energy. It is pulling them into those kinds of perceptions. So they will be engaged, forcibly engaged. One side they want to do it, but inner desire is different thing. Other side they want to do it because again the conflicts in their interests. That's why everyone are compelled and forcibly to act in such a way. But until one surrender themselves completely to the Lord, it is not possible. But one has to carry out his duty according to the constitutional position without taking sudden decisions. Simply chant, follow it. Wherever they are, stay there in their positions, either doing job and wherever their home is. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, follow the rules and regulations, and adhere to the spiritual master instructions. Equip the knowledge within the heart, detach from the material world. Detach from all kinds of material relationships, associate with the devotees. Nirvana murchati manha sahasa yatarchihi. Nirvana murchati manha sahasa yatarchihi. One should detach from everything of the material nature. Then he is called Jivan Mukta. People, they are looking for mukti, but for a devotee, without expecting that mukti, he will surpass the mukti. Mukti mukiritam sevate, something like that. Mukti, the personified mukti, folding her hands, standing at the door of a devotee. That our Rupa Goswami, our acharyas, they describe. It is already there. Anichito me gatim anvayam prayungte krutatmano krita pranam cha bhaktihi. Krutatmano krita pranam cha bhaktihi. Anichito me gatim anvayam prayungte. Even though they do not desire, automatically mukti will come. They do not have to worry about. That is the position of a Krishna conscious devotee. So we do not have to worry about devotees, though they have got relations, but here material world is running under the influence of Maya. They're all influenced. But if that is practically, we need to check what is happening to them. Even though boldly they may say, for speaking, one may speak so many nonsensical things. But what is happening to the mind, what is happening physically, that we need to observe. It is a practical evidences. We do not have to explain and argue. We simply smile and that's all. No need to argue with such kind of people. Show the examples. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for explaining so beautifully. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions, dear devotees? Okay, if there are no further questions, no sharings, then we shall conclude our session for tonight and see you next week. Okay, we shall conclude. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
Namo Namo Namo.
Koti
अनन्तकोटिवैष्णवेभ्यो
Jai.
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Jai.
Have a Krishna conscious day.
Thank you, Jai. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Japandi. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna Krishna
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.